Hello. Well, I said I'd make another video about King James, but the location's a little bit different. I'm here in Collinsville, Virginia, with my aunt, my mom's sister, and my cousin. He works down on the bottom of a hill, self-service warehouse. So he's the manager there, and he works there and has people working for him, and he also has my son working for him right now. So my son's learning a little bit of work responsibility. So, and at the same time he gets a little spending money, so that's good for me. I don't have to give him a whole lot, but anyway, good work ethics. That's what he needs. But anyway, I wanted to read this, and I'm sitting here in the truck, my mom's truck, and I was gonna show my uncle something. Well, my uncle is not really my uncle. I guess he would be my he's my aunt's husband, but second husband, because her first husband passed away. So, and then after he passed away, she remarried. Anyway, neither here nor there. I was going to show him something about the word statutes. If you look back in my other videos, you'll see where I took the word, I put statutes or statute, and I made the U a V. And if you, every other letter, you'll see a cross, and in between the crosses you see the word save. Pretty cool. I just came across that somehow or another. I just came across it a couple months ago. Now, I'm sure there's other people who've seen the same thing as I have, but it's not as obvious. But anyway, let me just go ahead and make the video, huh? Yeah. It says, James the Incomparable. Christopher Columbus is famous for only one great accomplishment. He discovered the New World. This was not insignificant by any means, but it is this one single act in his life that we benefit from today. The Wright brothers basically have one great achievement to their credit, but it's a great one. They invented the airplane. This one single act has touched all in some way, even if we do not fly personally. And I've never flown, so I don't know what it's like. Henry Ford did not invent the automobile. He invented the affordable automobile. By so doing, he made it possible for anyone to own a car, and not only spawn America's love affair with a car, but open our country up as nothing else could have. His heritage is with us today. Thomas Edison had numerous inventions to his credit, but it was his incandescent light that has affected our lives the most. These men were geniuses. They were so great that we can chart changes in civilization from their individual achievements. Yet these men's accomplishments pale when compared to those of the greatest sovereign ever to sit on the throne of England. James' greatness literally altered history. England alone was not the sole beneficiary of his greatness. America benefited also. So did Canada, Australia, New Zealand, India, and every nation that ever flew the British flag. Yet James's heritage overflowed even those boundaries to literally affect every man, woman, and child on the planet. How so? To understand this singularly great personage, we must review his enormous accomplishments while on the throne. He united the nations of England, Ireland, and Scotland to form the foundation of the British Empire. In fact, he was the first to use the term Great Britain. Now they don't use that. It's the UK, United Kingdom. This thing is hard to hold with plugging it. This would be the power base that would be used to influence the world in the ways of Britain. Make sure this thing's on. He commissioned the translation of the authorized version. The single volume was to affect each Briton that came into contact with it such a way as to fully exploit his individual potential for good. A feat is still achieved today on anyone who will read it. This effect brought a strain of civilization to England that was lacking in other colonial powers. As a rule, England was more benevolent to its colonies than its contemporaries were to theirs. To this day, independent nations that were at one time British colonies profit from their earlier association with Great Britain. In too many cases, these nations' best years were those when they were being exploited by this horrible colonial power. It says, he established the first Christian colony in a new world. This was the foundation upon which the United States was built. Remember, France and Spain both had colonies here before England. England did, but their Roman Catholicism forced God to withhold His blessing from their endeavors, and then to supplant them with the Bible exalting British. I can't hardly read today. So they were gung-ho Catholics, and they were stunted at their growth. But yet God used the English nation, the empire, and I guess it's saying even in their worst time we were still blessed. Ow! Dang it, hit my elbow. James placed the propagation of the gospel above all else when charting this new colony. The biblical bias continued throughout the history of the colonies and then prevailed to influence the founding of that new nation, the United States of America. Patrick Henry summed it all up when he stated, and let me just say this real quick. The county that I'm in right now used to be one county with another county, and that was Patrick County. The county I'm in right now is Henry County. Patrick Henry County was a county at one time, and then it got cut in two. So that's pretty ironic. I'm in the counties that are named after Patrick Henry. Well, we're going to Woolwine tomorrow, which is not far from where my mom was born, and my grandmom. So, that's ironic, isn't it? See, Patrick Henry stated, it cannot be emphasized too strongly or too often that this great nation was founded not by religionists, but by Christians, not on religions, but by the gospel of Jesus Christ. America's Godly Heritage video transcript. Was this Patrick Henry's isolated opinion? Hardly. It was a well-known fact that America was not founded to promote either free enterprise nor multiculturalism. The former was a mere fringe benefit of a nation built on Scripture. The latter is a lie perpetrated by public education and God-hating news industry in hopes of destroying this nation's biblical foundation and enslaving it in New Age paganism. But at the time of its founding, everyone knew that America was founded for God, and the money still says it. The House Judiciary Committee was made this fact plain when it stated in 1854. Had the people during the Revolution had any suspicion of an attempt to war against Christianity, that revolution would have been strangled in its cradle. At the time of the adoption of the Constitution and its amendments, the universal sentiment was that Christianity should be encouraged. That was the religion of the founders of the Republic, and they expected it to remain the religion of their descendants. Are these the rantings of a Right-wing conspiracy trying to rewrite U.S. history? Never. Even that cesspool liberalism, Newsweek magazine, is forced to admit the truth in an article entitled How the Bible Made America. Oh, I like that. How the Bible Made America. It has to say this about the King's great authorized version. For centuries, the Bible has exerted an unrivaled influence on American culture, politics, and social life. Now, historians are discovering that the Bible, perhaps more than the Constitution, is our founding document. The Bible is our founding document, more than the Constitution. Bible study was the core of public education, and I've said that before. And nearly every literate family not only owned a Bible, but read it regularly and reverently. Because of this biblical influence, the United States seemed to Europeans to be one vast public congregation, a nation with the soul of a church. Wow. Again, exposure to the King James Bible wrought in Americans a goodness that has become famous the world over. No nation is so quick to shed the blood of its young men for someone's freedom as America. That's true. No nation is as benevolent to its neighbors as America. American soldiers are more famous for the candy bars than for their war crimes. They are, let's see how many pages I got. Two more things. They are viewed by the world as liberators rather than oppressors. Why? Because of the King James Bible. How did that happen? King James. King James' insistence on jury trials has been mentioned earlier. This concept took hold in the colonies and their ensuing states and has been carried around the globe by Western civilization, in sharp contrast to the tyrannic kangaroo courts of Muslim and communist nations. King James exalted womanhood and the sanctity of marriage. He held the institution so highly that he himself spent 15 days in prayer and meditation before entering into that sacred bond with Anne of Denmark. James' own words confirm his high regard for this godly institution. In speaking to his heir, he said concerning marriage, but the principal blessing that you can get out of good company will stand, and your marrying of a godly, virtuous wife, being flesh of your flesh and bone of your bone. Marriage is the greatest earthly felicity. Without the blessing of God, you cannot look for a happy marriage. I learned my lesson on that. Young couples who would do well to follow this worthy man's advice even today. Here again, James was ahead of his time in the advising of his son. When you are married, keep inviolably your promise made to God in your marriage, which all stands in doing of one thing and abstaining from another, to treat her in all things as your wife and the half of yourself, and to make your body, which then is no more yours but properly hers, common with none other. I trust I need not to insist there to dissuade you from the filthy vice of adultery. Remember only that solemn promise you made to God at your marriage, and for your behavior to your wife. The Scripture can best give you counsel therein. Attention must be drawn to the fact that James made a great deal of the fact that the marriage vow was made to God, and therefore should be kept inviolate. Again, this point could well be emphasized to young couples before they call the caterer. James himself loved his Anne almost beyond words. The literary assassins had tried to claim otherwise. They tried to say he was homosexual and gay. But James eloquent that they even made a Queen James Bible, and by people saying this junk, this crap, which is a lie. Queen James Bible. It's not even selling right. Even homosexual people don't even like it. Of course, you've seen my video. But James' eloquence speaks for itself. In writing to his beloved wife, he said, I thank God I can carry that love and respect unto you, which by the law of God and nature I ought to do to my wife and mother of my children. For the respect of your honorable birth and descent I married you. But the love and respect I now bear you, for that ye are my married wife, and so particular of my honor as all of my other fortunes. It says something about it says something Bill Clinton subscribed to that. Space does not allow me to reproduce all of James' musings about his beloved mate, but he was doubtless in love and true to her until the day she died. At her death he wrote, her to invite the great God sent his star, whose friend and nearest kin good princes are, who through they run the race of a man and die, death serves but to enhance their majesty. So did my queen from hence her court remove, and left of earth to be enthroned above. She's changed indeed, for sure no good prince dies, but like the sun sets only for to rise. James even rebuked the great Puritan Bible translator Dr. John Reynolds for his opposition to the use of a ring in the wedding ceremony. Dr. Reynolds also took issue with the phrase, just want to make sure the camera's on, with my body I thee worship. In the ceremony, James responded caustically, many a man speaks of Robin Hood who never shot his bow. If you had a good wife yourself, you would think all the honor and worship you could do her were well bestowed. This high regard for the sanctity of marriage was for years shared by America until the Playboy philosophy became that of public education, and young people were taught to live like dogs, leaping from one mate to the next until the very fabric of our society rotted down to the standards of Hollywood. These great testaments.
Yeah.
Hey, Munchkin.
I've been up.
You been up?
Oh wow, we're busy today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These great testaments of the great King James have been carried around the globe like an unstoppable tide by British and American citizens, and thus seen themselves interwoven into the fabric of societies that King James probably never knew existed, much less would have thought could be touched by his greatness. This is the legacy he bestowed to us, and he did us well. And that was my niece that popped out like that. So, there we go. I'll wrap that up and see what else we can have in here and what we can make a video on and go from there. So, talk to y'all later. Have a good one.